Hey guys, it's Owen from Wrestling Inc. back with another wrestling news roundup. Without any further ado, let's get into today's biggest stories in the world of professional wrestling. Cody Rhodes teases massive change if he wins WWE title. Cody Rhodes has seemingly hinted at bringing back the iconic Winged Eagle bout if he were to win the WWE Championship in the future. As can be seen on social media, Rhodes recently took to his Instagram stories to share a close-up shot of the Winged Eagle bout, a title he has previously named as one of his two all-time favorites in pro wrestling. Rhodes seems primed to capture his first World Championship in WWE. On the Raw after his comeback at WrestleMania 38, Rhodes delivered an impassioned promo in which he emphasized that his focus was to win the WWE Championship for his father, the late WWE Hall of Famer The American Dream Dusty Rhodes. As reported previously, Rhodes is currently being presented as the face of Raw in a new NBC advertisement promoting WWE's two flagship shows. On this week's Raw, Rhodes beat Kevin Owens in the main event by countout. Rhodes also wrestled in back-to-back matches against Seth Rollins over the weekend at live events in Erie, Pennsylvania and Syracuse, New York. Cody Rhodes will face Seth Rollins in a WrestleMania 38 rematch at WrestleMania Backlash's premium live event on Sunday, May 8. Pat McAfee reportedly in talks with Amazon for NFL gig. WWE SmackDown commentator Pat McAfee is reportedly in talks for another significant contract. McAfee is currently in talks with Amazon to potentially contribute to their NFL Thursday Night Football coverage, which begins in the fall, according to the New York Post. There have also been talks about possibly airing the Pat McAfee Show on Amazon Prime Video. The weekday talk show, sponsored by FanDuel, currently airs via YouTube and SiriusXM. It was noted that nothing has been finalized, but negotiations are ongoing. McAfee would join Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit on the Amazon NFL broadcast team. Michaels and Herbstreit were recently hired to call the football games this fall. McAfee recently noted on his show that he has talked with Amazon executives. Before Herbstreit was hired, McAfee said he did not want to be a color commentator in the booth due to the large time commitment. McAfee signed a massive sponsorship deal with FanDuel late last year, worth $30 million per year for 4 years, with an opt-out after 3 years. The deal was for the Pat McAfee Show and was described as the richest talent deal in sports media history. The former NFL punter currently calls WWE SmackDown on Fox each week with Michael Cole and is signed to a multi-year contract. He defeated Austin Theory at WrestleMania 38 earlier this month, but then lost an impromptu match against WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon. Tony Khan comments on AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling Super Show announcement. Following the announcement of AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Forbidden Door event this June at the United Center, AEW owner and CEO Tony Khan sat down with Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated to talk about the historic Super Show. Khan reflected on how both companies got to this point and how the idea of the Forbidden Door show seems so unlikely when AEW first formed in 2019. Quote, "It would have been unfathomable to collaborate on a pay-per-view when AEW first started, but a lot has changed since then in the world of wrestling," Khan said. "I believe we've earned their trust. We started working closely together last year. The more we've collaborated, the better the relationship has become and the more trust we've built. It's culminating at this huge event on pay-per-view with the stars of AEW and the stars of New Japan Pro Wrestling colliding at Forbidden Door." Tony Khan went on to describe the relationship between AEW and New Japan as mutually beneficial due to the crossover of talent between both promotions. Quote, "It's a mutually beneficial relationship," Khan said. "Many of our top stars in AEW have wrestled in New Japan and held title there. A lot of the biggest names from New Japan have never been to AEW, and they have a lot of great wrestlers here that have been in the ring, with Okada, Naito, Ibushi, Tanahashi, and so many others. I'm excited for fans to see matches they've always wanted to see." In the end, Tony Khan is the happiest for the excitement that events like Forbidden Door have created. He concluded by saying the fans would be just as instrumental in opening the Forbidden Door as AEW and New Japan are. Quote, "This is going to be very exciting for wrestling fans," Khan said. "We are going to open the Forbidden Door together." Bray Wyatt changed his name on Twitter and posts cryptic messages. It's unknown what Bray Wyatt's next move in wrestling is in the wake of reports coming out regarding his asking price and an upcoming movie role. That hasn't stopped the former WWE champion from teasing fans with a potential new direction for when he resurfaces. Earlier yesterday on Twitter, Bray Wyatt officially changed his Twitter name to a red circle, while also changing his photo to a sketch of a one-eyed creature. He then tweeted the first of what would be several cryptic tweets. Quote, "I do think it's true that he who makes a beast of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man," Wyatt began. Bray Wyatt then continued with a few more tweets, the second one featuring another drawing of a creature with a snake crawling into its mouth. But, Wyatt tweeted, "But if you become the machine, you don't have to feel at all. #WhatIf to be sentient." It's unclear if Wyatt's tweets were referring to a potential in-ring return, a new concept, or something else entirely. Bray Wyatt hasn't been in a wrestling environment since WrestleMania 37 last year, where he was defeated by Randy Orton in singles action. Wyatt was later released from WWE in August of 2021. QT Marshall still talks to Cody Rhodes every day. AEW wrestler and producer QT Marshall joined Cultaholic Wrestling's Desert Island Graps this week for episode 142. Marshall, who is a close personal associate of Cody Rhodes, spoke about the American Nightmare's return to WWE after leaving All Elite Wrestling. He noted that he still speaks to the former AEW EVP every day. Quote, "We talk every day, QT revealed. I know he doesn't go into full detail of what's going to happen when he's about to go out there, but obviously we still communicate. He's the closest thing I have to a best friend, I guess. He's somebody that really went above and beyond to open a door for me, and he'll be the first to tell you, he opened the door. I did all the work. You do need it sometimes, you do need someone to open that door for you, and he was willing to do it. At the same time, I was going to work really hard, also knowing that his name and reputation was kind of stamped onto my back. It made me work even harder because at the end of the day, and I say this all the time, I thought he would go back to WWE before AEW had become a thing. I was going to train Brandy, I'll work out with Cody for All In, all this stuff, but he's eventually going to go back to WWE because there was no AEW. So, I was okay with that. I'm not going to go to WWE, they've already told me no. So I'll just be his friend, that's it. We'll hang out, we only live 30 minutes from each other, and I was super excited just to have a peer in the wrestling industry that kind of looked at me as a peer." QT Marshall continued and shared his delight at seeing Cody doing what he felt was best for him as he looks to move forward in his career. Quote, "When AEW started, I remember he asked me, 'Hey, do you want to be my assistant?' And I was like, 'No, I want to wrestle, but sure, of course, I'll do whatever you want me to do,' QT Marshall said. So yeah, we still speak all the time. I'm super happy for him. I think this is something he really needed to do for himself personally, and honestly, we've all been there. We've all had those, no pun intended, crossroads in our careers where we have to decide what's better for us personally. And that sounds selfish, but at the end of the day, you can only make other people if you're happy. If you're not happy, you'll never be able to make someone else happy because you're still always striving for that happiness. And that's not enough of it to go around if you're not happy. So it sucks going to work every week without him there, that's the bad part, but the good is watching him on Raw last night. I DVR'd it and I flipped it on and I got to see his segments. I think this is exactly what he probably wanted. This is why he left in the first place. He wanted to come back and be treated like this, and they did. They've given, I'm sure, everything he's wanted, or else I can't have seen him leaving. But at the same time, like I said, he had to do what he had to do, and I hope the best for him. I hope he wins the world title. So what are your thoughts on today's Wrestling News Roundup? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestling Inc. and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.